When the controlling parties of an industry reward specific results and outcomes, all those who wish to seek funding will be more than willing to produce them, purposefully dismissing and throwing out that which does not fit with these goals or indeed paradigms. With our ancient past being of no exception. To claim that the ancient megalithic sites found worldwide, many with blocks weighing several hundreds of tons, each effortlessly lifted aloft and placed upon each other with perfect accuracy? To conclude that the masses of polygonal masonry, much made without mortar, perched upon precarious cliff tops, or gigantic fortresses perfectly slotted together, with blocks weighing upwards of 400 tons, were all built by differing groups and tribes at differing times within history, with some even dated to before the known Iron Age, is we feel not only sheer ignorance, but possibly an indication of complicity in a conspiracy. It should be clear to all by now that anyone with any form of in-depth knowledge within antiquities and indeed familiar with the details of these mammoth feats, who continues to toe the party line as it were that yes, Baalbek was built by Romans, or that the Great Pyramids, including the Sphinx regardless of erosion, or the many stages of construction and conservation, which we have now exposed and shared, were indeed built by slaves, are clearly complicit in this cover-up. It is a conspiracy for power and control over all of our pasts, one that is extremely profitable. Yet as the evidence is exposed to the world, not only have we been predictably targeted for termination, but the truth jeopardizes a house of cards now built up over hundreds of years via millions of books, yet all built on a faulty foundation. The historical data collected regarding these known groups indeed correct and astute, with many details revealed about these later ancestors through marvelous intellect and technique. Yet the claims of these civilizations having been responsible for these structures within an unbroken timeline of history is crumbling before your eyes. With no explanation of how they moved or cut these stones, how indeed they built the pyramids or worked out how to create polygonal masonry, all techniques and knowledge that would even in today's world be undoubtedly invaluable to utilize. We are simply expected to ignore this mystery, to not even consider these gaping holes in our knowledge and abilities, to believe, as we are told, that it all simply became lost over the ages. Regardless of these sites now inarguably connected by our work across the globe, the ability to move huge stones, to cut them with such precision, to seemingly scoop granite, to build in polygonal blockwork, to have used and utilized metal clamps, advanced metallurgy, irrigation, transport, weight-bearing knowledge, astronomical knowledge, even possible portals. This modern age narrative written by those funded to do so continues to be protected at all costs, yet our work and the realization it carries is inevitable. Although there are many within the academic world who wish to silence us, and industries which wish to censor us, we feel it is all but too late. We had successfully slipped under the radar for long enough to get the message out there. Now we will endeavor to reveal the true extent and legacy of these now lost yet once astonishing civilizations. Our first book will soon be published, which will have many of our favorite and most popular subjects, scripts, illustrations, deep dives, historical anomalies, and so much more. Keep an eye out for updates and we will keep you posted. If you believe what we share is important for people to have access to, then please continue to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for daily fresh content. It is a battle for the truth which we find extremely compelling.
Did the Great Sphinx once witness the bottom of a sea? There is evidence, things we have covered on this channel in the past, which would suggest just that. Who built these astounding structures found dotted all over the earth? When were they built? Were they really, like academia would like you to believe, built by primitive civilizations with the use of primitive tools, often made of copper and notoriously soft metal? Or is there a possibility that these structures were made by a far more ancient, far more capable, world-traversing civilization? Built in areas of geological interest, most often the center of a landmass or placed upon key lines? Although there is a large number of artifacts and archaeological factors which strongly suggest this exact scenario of events, we feel there is one collection of artifacts, or rather evidence of this people's past existence, which, just like their clear originally intended function, could tie these monuments neatly together. Known as the missing ancient metal clamps, given their predicted age and metallic composition, the fact that they are no more should come as no surprise. However, the carved seats that these clamps once sat within are still present in the stonework of many ancient structures found all over the world. Within our own modern-day society, a society that can travel the world in a day and speak to the other side in an instant, technological advances are often copied or shared between nations. The concepts being the same, yet the manufacture slightly differing in form, and the metal clamps display this exact phenomena. Slight variations in manufacture that can be seen dependent on the landmass the ruin is found upon, yet the concept behind the construction of these amazing and perplexing structures, often constructed using blocks we have no explanation as to the placement of, remain the same worldwide. Dry stone walling often accompanied by these clamps made with such skill, the blocks are now often perceived to have been made to measure. The builders were clearly very aware of shifting, which can be seen, as blocks settled over the following years. This offers a presumption that these structures were intended to last many centuries, if not millennia, and the metal clips were also designed to indeed rust away to nothing after their function was served. Amazingly, it seems that out of the countless thousands used, a few of the clamps have somehow managed to survive. The clamps from pre-Columbian South America that have been examined show them to be made of a very unusual alloy: 2% arsenic, 95% copper, with traces of iron, silicon, and nickel. This composition is particularly interesting within Pumapunka because there is no source nickel anywhere in Bolivia. The clips are clearly a compelling link between these ancient structures found all over the world, but more importantly, the builders of them. These amazing artifacts clearly deserve much more attention. Thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
During our research, we have discovered a number of methods to prove that there have indeed been lost civilizations here upon our planet along with their once high technologies. One of the most peculiar being polygonal masonry, which, although claimed by some as geopolymer blocks, are made of all sorts of naturally found and subsequently quarried strata. However, what is interesting about this magnificent technique is the visual evidence of more primitive attempts made later, and also its selective use as casing stones, covering sections of far more ancient structures, seemingly used in an attempt to conserve said sites from further erosion. One site of particular interest is that of Emilia, found within modern-day Italy, which, after part of the ancient wall collapsed, has been scanned in depth. Non-invasive techniques such as ground-penetrating radar, electrical resistive tomography, specifically adapted for this study, laser scanning and digital terrestrial photogrammetry, integrated with other geomatic measures, were utilized and provided by total station and global navigation satellite systems. The results came as a surprise to those investigating the inner stability of the wall, finding 3 separate periods of activity. In other words, at least 3 now lost civilizations had been building the wall prior to the arrival of what is now commonly referred to as the Cyclopean period. According to the official study, quote, "We defined a max wall thickness of about 3.5 meters for the cyclopic sector. We show details of the internal block organization, and we detected low resistivity values, interpretable with high water content behind the basal part of the walls. Could this be residual evidence of a great flood?" They continued. Then quantitative analysis to assess reliable geotechnical stability was done. The results give rise, for the first time, to internal imaging of these ancient walls, highlighting features associable to different building styles related to different historical periods." End quote. Who were these ancient civilizations? Where did they go? Polygonal techniques are now a lost technology, a smoking gun argument in opposition of modern paradigm, one of a supposed unbroken timeline of continual evolution into our own modern civilization. The study, we feel, has not only proven our own hypothesis regarding multiple lost civilizations, but could also give credence to the theory of the Great Flood. It is a wall and indeed research discovery which we find highly compelling. The Necromantion, once used as a Greek temple of necromancy, devoted by the Greeks to their god of the underworld Hades and his female consort Persephone. This site was believed by the Greek devotees to be the door of Hades, allowing entry to the realm of the dead. Located at the meeting point of the Acheron, Pyriphlegethon, and Cocytus rivers, which were believed to have also flowed through the kingdom of Hades. With names given to the rivers, presumably by the Greeks, interpreted to be joyless, burning coals, and lament. Whilst other temples, such as the Temple of Poseidon at Tenerife, the temples at Hermione and Cumae in Italy, and Heraclea within Pontus, were known to have been used for the practice of necromancy. It was the Necromantion that was the most famous of them all. According to ancient Greek beliefs, while the bodies of the dead decayed in the earth, their souls would be released, traveling to this purported underworld via fissures within the earth. These spirits of the dead, according to the ancient Greeks, were said to possess abilities that the living did not have, including the power of precognition, the power to foretell the future. They therefore claim that these temples were erected by them in locations that were entrances to this mysterious underworld, used as altars for the believers of such to practice necromancy, a belief form of communication with the dead. This practice was attempted in order to receive prophecy. However, if one explores the architecture of such site, not only does this ancient Greek claim of construction become a clear, dubiously attested claim, but the evidence for highly advanced precision block building, now known as polygonal masonry, is discovered throughout the site. This existence of such sophisticated block building, which is not only found within and upon nearly every as yet unexplained ancient site upon the earth, but is incredibly similar in form to that of many other ancient sites within Italy, specifically the ancient wall which can still be found surrounding the Acropolis of Alatri and at other sites, including within the ancient ruins of Delphi. This astonishing feat of ancient engineering is as yet unexplained by modern academics, strongly indicating that this ancient site was originally built by a civilization now lost to history. Furthermore, like the enigmatic metal clamps, whose remnants are to be found within a number of these same ancient sites that were originally used by this highly intelligent group, these once utilized to keep the stones in their fitted positions as they shifted and settled over the millennia. These clamps' design vary from continent to continent. Our reason for mentioning this curiosity is that although the sophisticated methods of creating these ruins often remain similar or the same, depending upon the continent they are found, is dependent on the style and material these methods are made from. This, to us, strongly suggests that these ancient structures may have indeed been built by the different races found within these differing countries. The commanding force, the leading power of these groups, was the same worldwide power and font of this knowledge, who, with their clearly incredible technological prowess, successfully created such structures, and indeed the Necromantion, which, regardless of their tremendous age, has successfully survived a vast amount of millennia, successfully making it into our own modern ancestors' lives, predictably adapted due to their wondrous nature into their historical belief systems, often being adopted surrounding spirituality, either for theistic worship, burial, or in the case of the Necromantion, for the use of contacting the dead through the mystic teachings of necromancy. It is, undoubtedly, highly compelling.